I'm going to start sewing my circuit. Now I've actually got some stainless steel conductive sewing thread. It's a very strange thread to work with. When you actually thread your needle, you thread it through the eye, but you fold over just a small portion of it. You don't fold over the whole length of it, so you can see the end there. And I'm going to just have to be careful as I pull it through. I will make sure that I kind of hold the two pieces together. Don't put a knot in it up here. That will just make it so that it won't pull through. I've also had to make sure that it's long enough to go around the half of my circuit. If it's too short and it sort of stops here, that's fine. I can attach a little bit more on, but if it say stopped here, then the circuit would be broken and I'd have to start again. The easiest way to start is not to tie a knot anywhere, because the knots just don't work in this thread. So start close to somewhere, either start close to the lily pad sort of connection point, or start close to the LED connection point. Just pull it through so you've got a little end poking out there like that, and then do another little tiny stitch exactly in the same spot. Okay, be very careful with your thread. It is a very loopy kind of thread to work with, so work slowly. Okay, now if I just do one more stitch there, that works like a knot, and I can actually pull it through and then be sure that that's very secure, and then I will just cut off that end that's poking up. We don't want any loose threads, because if we have loose threads we may end up with a connection that will sort of create itself by hooking onto something else. And then what you have to do is you have to go over the edge of the connection point. So these holes are actually connection points. They have metal around them, and the metal basically is attaching to this conductive sewing thread. So it's creating a connection point. So I need to sew over this about 3 or 4 times to create a good connection. And this is going to conduct the electricity through. So that's actually 4 times over when I pull that back down again. And then I'm going to do a running stitch, and I'm going to do my running stitch along the edge, along the line of my drawing that I've already made before. Okay, now my running stitches have to be neat and small. If they're loopy or if they're too big, you may lose the connection, or you may find that they will go astray and create a short circuit somewhere. So keep them neat and relatively small. When I say small, I'm talking about maybe 1/2 centimetre maximum length. Okay, when I get to the other end, so I'm going to arrive soon at one of these points here, I'm actually going to sew into this one, because this is the one that I'm drawing into. I'm not going to go across to this one and create a short circuit and burn this LED. I'm going to just sew into this one, and I'll sew over that a few times again, and then I'll go along here and I'll sew into this one. I have to be very careful that I don't allow this line of thread here and this line of thread here to touch. They have to be kept separate. I've finished stitching up the side of this circuit here now, so this is all the negative side. I think on your instructions I might have said to sew your positive side first. It really doesn't matter which side you start on, as long as you continue wherever you start. So if you're starting with negative, then you're going to actually finish on negative here, and negative here, and negative here. And this is my last negative end, so this is where I must stop. I cannot continue over to this side here, because that will create a short circuit between this side and this side. Okay, so to finish off, basically I just do in reverse what I did at the beginning. So I sew over that point a few times. So I'm doing it 3 and then 4. This is my last one, and I'm going to do that little tiny stitch close to the edge, making sure that I'm not doing it near any other points where it could create a short circuit. I'm going to go in 3 times maybe, so 1, 2 and 3, and then cut my thread fairly close so that it doesn't cause a short circuit. There we go, that's the negative side done. Now I've started my positive side. I'm not sure that this thread is actually going to make it round to this end here and still have space to do the finishing knots. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just finish off like I have other times, where I basically finish the thread, do the little tiny sort of stitches next to it, and then I'm going to restart with new thread, being very careful not to leave any little loose sort of ends here that might actually cause a short circuit. Okay, this is my new thread. It's been stitched into here, and I'm going over it a couple of times here just to make sure that connection is nice and solid, and then straight down next to the connection point and continuing on. My circuit's stitched, and now it's time to put in the cell battery. So the battery goes in so that you can actually read the writing on top, and it's got the plus point on top, goes in like this. And then you just switch it on and hopefully everything lights up, and it does. Wonderful. Now, I didn't actually bring home the things to see what colours my LEDs were, so I'm ending up with a nose that's blue as well as two eyes that are blue. But that's fine. I'm just happy that they actually work.